will start in 30 seconds. This broadcast will start in 15 seconds. This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on the Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Today's guest is Patrick Withrow, Sheriff-elect, and apparently, maybe you could confirm or deny this, there is a new sheriff in town.
The people have spoken, and come January 7th at 12 noon, there'll be a new sheriff in town. A
new sheriff? And so if people wanted to come out and enjoy the festivities of the, is it an inauguration? How would you put that?
I would say swearing in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where could they do that at?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody is welcome. We're doing them this time out at our Sheriff's Department, out on the front lawn. Again, it's on January 7th, which is the first Monday of January, and we're going to have it at 12 noon. And everybody is welcome. This is I work for the people of San Joaquin County, and they're the ones who put me in this position. So I wanted to share it with my staff out there and all the citizens of San Joaquin County. So we'd love to have you come out there. It's in French Camp right there on Matthews Road, 7000 Michael Canlis Boulevard. So come on out.
And some of you have already probably been there.
That's right, yeah.
Some of you may be guests.
You may be walking out the front door at the time just being released, and you can join in. I'd love to have you there.
I love it. I'll be there. Right. Absolutely. So, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
So we, the people of Stockton, want to know what your first 90 days are going to look like. I posted a lot of questions online last night, and so these are some of the questions from the people of Stockton.
Yeah, well, no, that's a great question. I mean, you know, your first 90 or 100 days are very crucial. You know, this is a very interesting time at our department because this has never happened before. A seated sheriff has never been unseated.
Oh, wow.
An incumbent like that. So it's interesting times for our employees and for our citizens here in San Joaquin County. So we've been working the past 6 months. I put my team together, my transition team, and we've been working on things that we thought we could immediately impact crime and people's quality of life issues.
And that is a big question right there.
Yeah, here in Stockton and San Joaquin County. So you're going to see a change in our patrol staffing right out the gate. We're going from 5 patrol teams, which has really diluted the number of officers we have on each team, to 4 patrol teams, which will really beef that up. And why that is important is because when you dilute that number, then officers just become call takers. You know, they get dispatched to calls, and that means people have already been victimized, and all we're doing is taking paper and information and then later trying to catch somebody.
Wow.
When you beef up the staffing on patrol and you have more officers on, while some officers are handling calls for service, other ones are able to be proactive. And that's the biggest thing. We want as many officers as we can being proactive, because that becomes preventative.
It's like patrolling neighborhoods and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so we're stopping crime before it happens.
Showing
so
your presence.
Don't have to take cases down the line there. So it's good all the way around. It's good for our citizens, that keeps them from being victimized. And it actually is good for the bad guys, because we're interacting with them before they get involved in crime.
Hey, you come over here.
Yeah, and we get to talk with them, get to know them. We get to find out if they need help or have issues, whether it's alcohol or drug abuse or whatever it is, homelessness, any of these things. And we interact them before they break the law, and start to try and help them and get them off that path.
So you're adding a personal touch to law enforcement.
Well, I believe it's always been there. It's just having the time to do it. And, you know, law enforcement has always been a service job.
Right.
We work for the people, and a lot of people have forgotten about that. And that's what community policing is all about.
When you say people, the citizens or the officers?
I think both sides.
Right.
Both sides. We have to remind our officers, hey, we are a service organization, and we need to give courteous, quality service out there. And sometimes when you're running from call to call and you're so busy and all you see are bad
You have a
things,
short temper.
Yeah, we're all human. And,
Absolutely.
But if we give them the support that they need, our officers I'm speaking of, and we give them the staffing around them that they need to be safe
Right.
and have the time to do their jobs properly, then I believe you'll see a big change, because you'll get that opportunity to interact officers not only during times when crimes have been committed or when you've been victimized, but just as a member of their community, somebody who's out there who's working with them and taking the time to interact with
I
them.
like that. So is it all going to be all at once, or is it going to be phased in? What's that going to look like?
Well, we're going to do the change on patrol all at once. So you'll see and it's a fairly easy change for us, going from 5 teams to 4. And so we'll be able to impact that all at one time. It doesn't come down to we have to hire more officers or anything like that. We can make it happen like that. So that'll be nice. And as we hire, we have a lot of people in our training program right now and people in the academy. As we add more officers on, then it's just gravy.
Robust.
It's more and more people out there.
How many do you
doing the
plan on
job.
hiring in the first year?
Well, we're down about 33 officers on patrol right now.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big chunk, when you think about it.
So how many officers are in a patrol in the 4 patrol that you laid out?
In the 4, well, you got to remember we've got 2 different day off sequences.
Okay.
So on each side, figure about 35, 40 guys on each
Okay.
side of so Monday, Tuesday day off, or Thursday,
Gotcha.
Friday day off. So, but those numbers we want to grow. We have unfunded position or funded positions that aren't staffed right now. So those numbers are just going to continue to grow. So it's going to be great.
So if you want to be a sheriff, go apply.
Absolutely, we are looking for people. We'd love to have people here in our own community decide to get into law enforcement, whether it's in our correctional side, working in the jail,
Right.
or on the patrol side. We have so many things that you can do. We're just not patrol, but we've got boats, and we work courts, and we have our civil division and detectives, and our contract city of Lathrop, and there's so many things you can do in our department that you don't just have to be a patrol officer. You can do a lot of different things.
I like that. So I remember it was like earlier over the summer, the PD, Stockton PD and the sheriffs were working together as a task force. Are you going to continue that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, actually, I rushed over here. I was going to be in a meeting with Chief Jones this morning, and I had to skip out of that to come over here and do this, and he understood.
Sorry, Chief Jones.
That's all right. And all the other chiefs of the county were there also. All the heads of law enforcement were there, and it's a neat thing that we do once a month. We all get together and discuss things and see how we can help each other and what our needs are.
Be proactive.
Yeah, we're going to be very, very aggressive in working with our partners in law enforcement. For our smaller agencies, we're going to reach out and we're going to train together and share resources and make sure we're all on the same page, because as I've been saying for the past 7 years, bad guys don't know boundaries. They don't know
Absolutely.
where city limits are and county starts. So we all need to work together to solve these problems, and we have great chiefs of police throughout the area with Escalon and Ripon and Manteca and Tracy and Stockton and Lodi.
I always forget about all those little outskirts.
I know we've got a bunch of them, but they're doing great jobs, and it's really difficult, when you're out there. So we really depend on each other. If my officer's doing a car stop out on River Road, it's great that Stockton or Ripon PD that Escalon or Ripon PD can come and fill with us and make sure that we stay safe.
Right.
And vice versa. When they have something going on, we jump in and help them. So it's huge. And
Is that
and it's about
been historically that way, or is that something new that you guys have implemented?
No, it's historically that way. That's
Okay.
the way all through the state of California, we all work together really well. We have CHP that is all over the place, and they're constantly filling with us, and we're filling with them, and so we all help each other. It's it's a big family of law enforcement that really cares about each other's safety and our public safety, and we work together and make sure that we do the best we can at that.
And Stockton's unique in many ways. But this one aspect is you could be in county on one side of the street and city on the other.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a big issue with us because we're on different radio frequencies and things like that. So yeah, a sheriff deputy can be somewhere in the country club handling a call, and a PD officer can be the next street over and need some help, and we don't know that until their dispatch contacts our dispatch and that type of thing. So I'm gonna work with Chief Jones, and we're gonna find ways that we can get that response time of getting that information to other agencies, whether it's us or CHP's also in the area and all these areas throughout Stockton. And then we have SUSD, and we have Delta College, and we have UOP Police. So we have all these agencies that are intertwined in here, and we got to make sure that we're talking to each other and sharing information and helping each other the best we can.
Absolutely. So to community involvement, that's been that was one of the hot questions online last night. Was how are you going to engage the community?
Well, I'm very aggressive and have been through this campaign with reaching out to the community to find out what's important to them. And having been in law enforcement and worked here in these streets for 28 years, I'm very familiar with that. And so we're going to have a very different approach at our office now. We're going to be very proactive in reaching out to our community and engaging with them. And we go to community events now and reach out some to our public. But we're going to start modernizing that. And we're going to use social media a lot to get information out on all different platforms. We're going to reach out to our traditional media, whether it's print or the television media.
Or the Lance McCann Show.
The Lance McCann Show like this, to reach out to the public and let them ask us questions, and for us to teach them what we do and why we do it so that they can be safe. And we can be safe when we interact with each other. And we're, as I said, the social media side of it, we're working with our public information officers, and we're starting to modernize all that so that, let's say we have a missing child or a missing elderly adult, that we can immediately blast that information out, and it'll start showing up on people's phones and
Facebook
feeds,
pages.
So they start to notice, all those type of things, so that they're getting information immediately. If there's a car pursuit going on, bam, we want to get that out to people so that they're safe and they know that this is going on around their neighborhood. I was just contacted by it's called Rogers Outdoor Media, I believe is the full name, and they do billboards throughout the state of California, and they have offered to us, coming up here in February or March, they're building a new electronic billboard there on 99 by Hammer. And they're going to give us the opportunity to have space on that electronic billboard that we can put up information just like we were talking about. If something big is happening,
like an Amber Alert or something.
Amber Alerts, chases going on, people we're looking for, or just information about recruiting and things like that. Come work for us. So we're going to start expanding our horizons and reaching out to people and giving them the opportunity to talk directly to me. They're the ones who gave me the job. And
I like that.
Programs like this where Lance asked you guys to send in some questions, and I'll do live feeds, hopefully monthly, while I'm in office, and you'll be able to type questions in. And,
I can't wait. That's gonna
call
be
me
great.
Names or tell me we're doing good things. But either way, it's my job to listen to what you have to say and respond to it. So
there was a gal. She posted a question. What is your plan for South Side of Stockton, engaging with the youth out there?
Well, South Stockton kind of has a special place in my heart because I go to church out there, a progressive community church, and I used to patrol out there a lot. And so it's about getting back into the community centers out there and getting back into the faith-based organizations out there, all the different churches and things like that, and the schools. Connecting
with them to try to...
Yeah, and the biggest thing we need to do is start, when we get involved with our community, is starting with the kids and making sure, hey, they know that law enforcement is there to help them.
Play a little basketball, maybe?
Play a little basketball like we used to. When we were coming up in the department, it doesn't happen anymore, but we'd like to bring it back. They would open up the community centers, and the deputies would volunteer their times and go out and play hoop with the guys and gals or flag football. And it was kind of a neat opportunity for them to just see us as human beings, not guys with badges and guns on, and they'd get to
just
pound on us.
Just being a jerk to me because I was speeding.
Yeah, exactly. And they'd get to pound on us out on the floor, and we get to give it back a little bit. But it was all good and good fun and sports, and so it was neat for them to see that. So then later on, when we rolled up on them hanging out at the corner and we got out to talk with them, not to harass them, but just to talk with them, they'll already have that relationship with
rapport.
us. And they'll say, hey, I know that guy. He's a normal guy and a good guy. So that's how you slowly build back that trust of the community.
I love that. So speaking of sports, what's up with the Pig Bowl?
Well, I got to play in that the last 3 years, and absolutely loved it. We tend to get broken a lot when we play in these. We're not as young as we used to be, and towards the end there, Stockton PD's guys were getting a lot younger, and our guys were getting a lot older. So that comes down to
well, you have 30 positions to hire the best team you can.
Absolutely.
Recruit.
Yeah, it's a great charitable event. They raised a ton of money, and I would love to be able to continue to do stuff like that. It does come down, though, to be honest, though, all joking aside, is that, we're all competitive people. You get men and women out there that like to win, and so we do get a lot of injuries, so that starts to impact financially the county and the cities and things like that. We did
maybe you can make it flag.
Well, we did. We did transition to a flag football game that we played at the indoor stadium.
Okay.
The hockey stadium over there now, the arena, and against Fire one time. So we'll find a way to do that. We want to, again, that's part of engaging with the community and raising monies for nonprofits and helping our community out that way. So sports is a great way to do that.
I love it. I love it. So how long do you think it will take to see a drop in crime?
Well, I think, as I mentioned, with beefing up patrol, and then we have some other phases that we're going to phase in later on, some big teams of officers that are going to go out and really impact crime in the community. I think we'll see in the first year. I think we'll see a dramatic impact on crime. I truly do. It's about being proactive. And the moment that you start to be aggressive and proactive and let bad guys know that, hey, don't come to San Joaquin County because we are going to protect our citizens. We are going to do what it takes to make this a safe place to raise your family and to bring your business and bring jobs here. And if you think you can come here and victimize the citizens of San Joaquin County, you're going to be in for a shocking surprise.
I think that's you hit on a big point. We need to make it safe so companies will want to build here, bring their businesses here, bring their warehouses here.
Absolutely. We have this, and I've talked about this before. This jewel right here in the middle of California.
I know.
It's got the port. It's got railroad systems. It's got the freeways. We're close to all the airports. We have our own airport. We've got everything we need right here. It should be a destination for big business to want to come
Absolutely.
here. And Stockton has done a great job. They just got Amazon to come in here. And
511, I just noticed too.
Yeah, 511's out there on airport now, which is great. But all these companies should be clamoring to come here, and the only reason that they're not, or a majority of the reason that they're not, is that it all starts with public safety. So, we ask sometimes for pay raises for our guys or more money for different things, and I know that's tough on our taxpayers, but you have to realize that you have to invest in our community, and it starts with public safety, and we want the best of the best to be able to come here, and we need to be able to attract good officers, quality officers to come and work here. And that's for all the departments, everybody in our county.
Some quality officers and some quality jobs.
Absolutely. And if we can make it safe here, then great businesses will come here and we'll have good, high-paying jobs.
Tony Finnegan said that it was definitely a positive community event that made an impact on me. So
Good.
Everybody loves the Bacon Bash.
Oh, absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
So another question that was out is the Honor Farm. There's everybody seems to think that it's housing for homeless people.
Right.
And so I know Sheriff Moore had talked about something along those lines. What is happening with the Honor Farm?
So what it is that some community members have, with their own time and their own money, gone and found some of the best programs throughout our nation and formed one of those here, and it's called Ready to Work. And what it is Sheriff Moore has allowed them to house these folks in some of the barracks out there at the Honor Farm, 3 of the barracks. And the Ready to Work program is a fantastic program where guys that are just getting out of custody, instead of just walking out the front gate and not having a place to live and having no jobs, they get to stay there and they get all this training and support that they need so that when they complete the program, they can get a good paying job.
How long is the program?
I'm not sure. I've just got to tour it for the first time.
Okay.
I don't know all the ins and outs. I think it kind of depends. It's on a case-by-case basis and what your job that you're going for and that type of thing. But they get all kinds of support while they're in there and training that they need to be able to go out and get a good paying job. And that's fantastic, and that's what we need to do. They're starting slowly, so I think they have 20 or 30 people in it right now, and they're going to grow it. My complaint during the campaign was that it should not have been housed at our Honor Farm. That's a jail facility. I wanted to make sure that we weren't setting up these people going into this program for failure.
Right.
And being around that element of the Honor Farm could have some temptations that would cause them to do things to get them in trouble. So,
plus it adds risk to your officers.
Absolutely.
And the inmates who are,
Yeah, but the program is up and running. We've had no problems as of yet, as that I've been told, and so we're gonna monitor it closely. The Ready to Work people listened to my concerns and adapted their facility to make it safer for the compound, and added staff, hired some great people out there. They're doing a really good job with security. And we're going to continue to work hand in hand with them and enhance the security around it. And we're going to monitor everything. And hopefully we'll have a lot of success out of there. And it'll be a model for other places.
I love it.
And but eventually I think we'd like to get it to a place where the housing and the training and everything are a lot closer to each other. But all that comes down to money, So this was an opportunity that to give them a place that was existing and had beds and had supports where they could get food and all kinds of things like that they need, food, showers, all the basic needs. So we're going to work hand in hand with them, and I'm going to make sure that it's safe for my facility. That's my top priority.
That's number one.
And then we're going to make sure that it's a successful program.
I have a couple questions online. Somebody says, "Where's the academy at? Where would they go to join the academy?"
Great question. Yeah, we have Delta Academy right here at Delta College that does a fantastic job. We have an officer assigned there that works with the academy, and they're doing a fine job. So we send people there, and we also send people to the Stanislaus Academy that's out on Crow's Landing Road there in Stanislaus County by Ceres and Modesto. And we have an officer assigned there also. And you would start by contacting the county and telling them that you're interested and start that process. And we do your background and all that type of stuff. And if you can pass all that, then we would get you into the academy. Or you can put yourself through. Let's say you can only go part-time. And Delta's kind of good for this because if you're working or you have family and stuff like that, sometimes there's ways that you can get yourself through the academy, and if not at Delta, other academies that you can do it part-time, in the evening and things like that.
The other question is, what do the officers need from the community to make it a safer environment for them?
Well, I think it's a hand-in-hand thing. What's good is if we can teach the community what we do and why we do it. The other side of that is we need to be able to listen to the community and what they need from us.
Absolutely.
So we need to do a better job of having the community sit down with us and say, okay, if I've had a bad experience in the past with law enforcement, I'm going to give these guys another chance, and sit down and tell us what they need and what we can do to make their areas safer, because nobody knows it better than the people that live in their neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
And everything's different. And so tell us what your concerns are, and that's it's going to be our job in going out and getting involved in whether it's PTA meetings or after school programs or Kiwanis or Lions or whatever it is, just community events. come up and start talking to the officers and say, hey, these are my concerns in our community.
How can I address that?
Yeah, or if I'm doing a Facebook Live, or if you want me to come speak at your community event, or one of my officers to come just do your neighborhood watch meetings, or if you just want to have a barbecue at your house and have us come by.
I love that.
We will do whatever it takes to gather information from you, so we can do our job better and work together, because we can't, we need the public to be our eyes and ears out there,
right.
But they're only going to do that if they trust us.
Absolutely.
And if we know that we have their best interests in mind.
So speaking of trust, there's a huge homeless problem that we have here in Stockton, and so it's a two-pronged question. One was, what are you going to do about the homeless problem? And two, is it true that Tracy, Manteca, Escalon are arresting homeless people on petty charges just to get them into the county jail, and then they kind of just stay here locally?
Well, no, I don't think they're doing that. San Joaquin County does have a huge homeless problem, but so does every other county in our nation. I mean, this is a global problem, and there is no one fix for homelessness. It's a multi-pronged issue. So there's many different layers of homelessness. One is the people that have had, through no fault of their own, maybe something happened in their lives where there's a huge medical bills, or they lost their job or something like that. And most people, unfortunately, in our country, are just a few paychecks away from losing everything.
That's
not
crazy.
being able to pay rent or things like that. So we have that, where they are they're fairly recent to homelessness, or short time in the homelessness problem, and but they can't get back on their feet, because if you don't have a house, you can't take showers and personal hygiene and keep your clothes nice or cleaned or washed to be able to go and get job interviews and things like that. So there's that angle of it. And then there's the angle of people who have substance abuse problems, and they've been a little more chronically homeless, because of their addictions. They're in and out of places to stay, and whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, or that they're not able to maintain any type of jobs to where they have money to have a place to stay. So they're always on the street and looking for places to stay. And then there's the mental health issue. We have a tremendous problem with mental health here in our community and throughout California, and that came back to years ago when legislation was passed where they closed down so many of our mental health facilities.
There was one on California Street. That was
right. So that's another side of it. And now we have a lot of veterans, male and female veterans, that are coming back and having post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yes, that's a big one right now.
Not able to get the help that they need, and that leads to either addictions or emotional problems that keeps them from being able to maintain jobs and things like that. And then there's a segment of this population, and it's a fairly small segment of it, but they don't want any help. They want to be homeless.
They're not homeless. They're just living outside.
Exactly. They're just, and I've been to several meetings, and at one meeting up in Lodi, a homeless guy actually walked in. He was a young guy, and he said, "Hey, look, I don't want your help. I enjoy doing this." I'm sure he shows up at our food banks and eats our food, but so there's that side of it. So there's multi-pronged layers. Now, to address the law enforcement side of it, we're just one part of the solution, or a part of the team that is trying to help these folks. And our job in law enforcement is that service job that I talked about before. And so, we're usually the tip of the spear. We're usually the ones that people call, and we have to go into homeless camps or find somebody out on the street and interact with them. And we're going to be working very hard to see, our first step is to, first of all, make sure that our officers are safe and find out whether this person is wanted or anything like that. And once we've done that, then we're going to try and triage people and say, okay, what can I do
Try
to
to
help
start
you?
shuffling them into different programs
Exactly.
and stuff.
Yeah, we have so many
Is
community.
it true that other
organizations
cities
that
like
wanna
San
help.
Francisco and stuff like that are shipping people here on a one-way bus ticket?
You know, that's been
That's
been
a-
talked
that's a
about
huge rumor.
It's been talked about for years, and in the past, I know that it used to be the thing, and when we didn't used to have thousands and thousands of homeless people, if you came across somebody like that, you'd say, hey, you don't have your warrants or anything like that, you haven't violated law, can I give you a ride somewhere? You're here on the street, you're stuck here, and yeah, I'd like a ride to the bus station or something
Okay.
like that, you know. So things like that used to happen. I know recently we've had a few incidences where that's actually been caught on videotape, where you'll see somebody dropping somebody off at a particular location. So I can't say that that doesn't happen. That is not policy of law enforcement in any department. And our job is to help people the best we can, and sometimes we just can't. You know,
Right.
if you offer help to somebody, if they're not breaking the law, and they don't want any other type of help, as law enforcement, our hands are kind of tied a lot of times in situations like that. But we are going to be very aggressive and very proactive in trying to get people in situations or at places
To better their
that
lives.
can help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the big question was, are you going to audit the evidence room?
Absolutely, absolutely. We were just talking about that this week with my future command staff, and yes, we are going to go back and we're going to look at that evidence room, and we're going to have an external audit done. I know that there's been a lot of work done over there to clean it up, and I know that they have done an internal audit where they were able to investigate themselves. And,
That doesn't count.
I'm sure that they've the officers did the best that they can, or did with the directions that they were given.
Right.
But I think it'll put the public at ease. I know it'll put me at ease to have an outside agency come in and do an audit.
At least you know where you're starting from. Right now, you don't know where you're starting
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not just going to be the evidence room. We're going to do that throughout our department. And we have a current audits or reviews being done right now. Perfect example was one of my managers came to me yesterday and said they're just finishing up an internal review of the public administrator, which is fantastic. So they have people out of the public administrator office do a review of that office to make sure everything's copacetic. What can we do better? What are we doing well? You know, so
And what are we doing bad that we need to fix right
exactly,
now?
exactly.
I love it.
So we're going to do that all through the department.
So the speed freak killers, I have a personal issue with that. My sister came up missing in 1981.
Sorry to hear that.
And so it's theorized that they may have been the culprits.
Could have been.
What are you going to do? Are you going to start digging up some wells, or are you just going to leave that alone?
No, we're going to get very involved in that again. The current administration says that case is still open, but that doesn't mean it's active,
Right.
in my opinion. So we're gonna get really involved in that too. We're gonna get our cold case unit together, which is going to be more than just one person. And
So that's all that's on there right now is one?
I think so. I believe
Okay.
that we only have one person assigned to cold cases, and we're gonna aggressively go after and try and get these victims' families the closure they deserve. We have one of the suspects in the Shermantine killings, speed freak killer, still alive and on death row, and he is once again reaffirmed that now that I'm in office, he is willing to assist us
Oh,
in
wow.
informing us where these folks have been buried. He has done that in the past. He has written maps showing exactly where they disposed of bodies, but we did not go and act on all or most of those locations.
Wow.
And then we're going to do this respectfully for the families. We're going to keep them very informed in what we're doing on a regular basis. We're going to be compassionate about recovering their loved ones, and make sure that we do this in the approved law enforcement way, and not go in there with a big backhoe and tear things apart and destroy evidence. And it's really not about going after a conviction, although if something
It's about
was
closure.
if something was to point us in the direction that there was other people involved that have not been brought to justice yet, then we would go down that path. But we are not going to leave families in our community whose loved ones are missing
especially
hanging
when
out
there's
there.
a map
Yeah.
to the evidence.
Yeah, we're not going to leave them hanging out there anymore. If my son or daughter or wife or sister or brother were missing, I would want someone to do all that they can. Now, I'm not
Absolutely.
saying that we're going to be able to get results, but we're going to do everything we can.
Put a concerted effort in
Absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
instead of just, I don't want to talk bad about people, but it was kind of disheartening when I saw all that going on.
Yeah.
For me, I gotta have a personal interest in it.
Right.
And
everybody deserves that. And that's what you pay your tax dollars for, and that's what you hired us for. So we are going to be very much involved in that.
I love it. After the audit of the evidence rooms, any plans on investigating or possibly indicting anybody?
Well, that's going to be up to what we find.
Okay.
Everybody gets treated the same. There's one standard for everybody, and we're going to be very open and honest about what we find. In my department, we're going to hold people to a higher standard, and on every front. But in every audit and investigation that we do, and in our department, and throughout the time that I am sheriff, my department will be held to a higher standard. And if we find that anyone has violated the law and has disrespected and brought dishonor to our profession, our badge, and our department, then they will be held accountable. And that goes from me all through my command staff all the way down. So if we're going to expect our officers to behave properly, and we're going to hold the county citizens accountable for things, well, then our command staff and everyone involved will also be held that way. So we are not going head hunting for anybody. We are not vindictive. We are not doing any of that. We are just going to enforce the law and make sure that we're open and honest about mistakes that we've made, if any.
I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
From the bottom of my heart. That's amazing. So one of the questions, Western Ranch has been, because it is so close to the jail, are you going to plan on patrolling that area or are you planning on patrolling that area heavier, or are you working to secure the jail? Because last time I checked, there's like 332 escapes.
Right. Well, the Honor Farm's been a problem, especially since AB 109 has kicked in and the different types of inmates that we have out there. So we're definitely going to work on continuing to secure the jail. We're going to do the simple stuff, the inexpensive stuff, and modernize the lighting out there. We're going to get some cameras out there. Right now we have officers assigned sitting out in the field at night or through their shifts, watching to make sure nobody's going towards the fences or things like that. Well, that's ridiculous.
That's a lot of money sitting right there.
That's a lot of money sitting there. So why not modernize and use cameras and motion lights and all these type of things that will help us monitor that. And, of course, continue with the classic fencing, if we need to put more fencing up, and barbed wire and all these type of things to secure it. Yeah. But we're also right in the process now of planning a new jail that wouldn't give us any more beds. It'll just replace what we have at the Honor Farm, which would be a much more secure facility. But that's several years down the line. And on the point of Weston Ranch, that's Stockton PD's jurisdiction.
Okay.
And I know Stockton PD has been working very hard to try and keep it safe out there, and they're getting their staffing back up where they need it. They've been so understaffed for so long, so
Yes,
I'm very happy for them. But you're right, we are right out there by them, and this goes back to what we talked about in the beginning, working closely with each other. So I want to make it clear, and Chief Jones and I will sit down and talk about this, and make sure that our officers know, and that our dispatchers know especially, that if something goes down in Weston Ranch where there's a burglary in progress, there's been a shooting, anything like that, I would hope that we can work out something where they put that out as an all call to all law enforcement, so that if my guy's just pulling out of the booking arena and he's 30 seconds away from it, then let us know. We'd love to go over there and help protect and keep the scene safe until PD can get on scene if they're coming from all the way across town or something like that. Or if CHP happens to be driving by on the freeway and they hear it, they can jump off and go and protect our citizens and try and catch bad guys until whoever's jurisdiction is. If something happens out in the county, I want to be able to do the same thing. It's not just Western Ranch. It's anywhere in our county. We need to be able to say, hey, we've got this crime going on. Who's close by? Who can get there and make our citizens safe until the jurisdiction that is responsible for that area is able to show up?
I love
because
that.
a lot of times we're really out of position on things. So I need that help as much as all the other agencies need that help.
One of the other questions were ICE, and sanctuary cities. How are you going to approach that?
Yeah, that's a huge question through our communities that have a lot of undocumented foreign national people here in our community, and they're really the lifeblood of our farming community as far as when it comes to ag business So ICE is a part of the federal government, and federal law comes down. Immigration is under federal law, so it is not my job to spend my taxpayer money to go out and hunt people that are here undocumented in our country, and so I don't have the time or the resources to do that. But on the other side of that is nobody wants criminals who are undocumented foreign nationals in our country, anywhere, much less our state.
Right.
Not even other undocumented foreign nationals. So if it comes to my attention, we have somebody in custody who has committed one of the listed violent crimes, if they're a gangbanger that's shooting up places or robbing people and things like that.
Typical bad guy.
Absolutely. If he's a bad person, I am definitely going to reach out and contact ICE and inform them that we have that person and he has been convicted of this crime, and then they will do what they do.
Okay.
And our law states that if I do that, throughout the year I hold hearings to let people come and talk to me and tell me whether they like that I do that or not. Conversely, though, people who may get picked up for driving on a suspended license, or maybe they got a drunk driving, which is a serious crime, but they haven't hurt anybody or anything like that. We do not have the time, and the law does not permit, and I wouldn't want to. We don't want to hurt good people that are just trying to be in our country and do it right. We would like to try and help them get on the path to become documented in our country and be here legally.
I think that's a huge issue right now.
Absolutely. It's very difficult for them to do that right now, but they do not need to fear us. What's happening right now in our communities of undocumented foreign nationals is that they're being victimized by criminals, and then the criminals, after they victimize them, whether it's domestic violence or robbery or whatever, they say, if you call the cops, they're going to throw you out of this country. And I want them to know that that is absolutely not true. If you are victimized, you call us. We will make sure that you are taken care of, you're made safe. We will go find that guy who did it and bring him to justice. But you do not have to fear that we're going to contact immigration if you're just a good person trying to make a living, raise your family, and you've been victimized. So it's only the bad guys that are hurting our citizens that we're gonna go after.
No 3 strikes.
Absolutely.
1 strike, you're out. The other big question was concealed carry permits.
Right.
What is your take on that?
Well, I'm very proactive and very pro CCW. 7 years ago when I first started running for sheriff, we only had 300 CCWs in our county. They were never given out, and they were only given out to a very select few. And I was very outspoken about how wrong I thought that was. I thought everyone should have an equal opportunity to protect their family.
Absolutely.
As I said earlier, we can't be all places at all times. So we like it when the citizens step up and get involved, as I said earlier, and try and help us. Now, I pray that no one ever has to use a firearm or pull a firearm to protect another person. We want you to be a good witness. We want you to watch what's happening and call us and let us handle it. But nowadays, unfortunately, there are situations with the violence on the rise that when somebody's going to get hurt, and if it was one of my kids that was in a store or a restaurant or out in public and somebody was about to hurt them, I would hope another citizen would step in and help protect them. And that's why we have the Second Amendment, and that's why we have laws on the books that say if you're willing to do this, and if you're willing to get the training, and you're of good moral character, and you don't have bad crimes in your past, that you have the right to carry a firearm. And so we don't want bad people or crazy people walking around with guns. And I'm sorry we live in a society right now that we even have to have this conversation, but unfortunately we do. So I'm happy to say that since I've run for sheriff, that the current sheriff flipped his position on this right at the end of our first campaign and started issuing a lot of CCWs. And so we're going to streamline the process at the department. We're going to modernize the process and get it online so it makes it easier for folks. But we're still going to have the standards that the state and federal government have set for us, as far as if you meet these certain standards, then you have the right to carry a firearm.
I love it. Pro Second Amendment. One of the questions somebody has, Richard Andrew has a question, and I actually forgot to ask you. Is Dr. Amalu coming back?
You know, Dr. Amalu's a great guy. I got to know him in this campaign, and he's an extremely intelligent guy, and for gosh sakes, Will Smith played him in the movie. So,
right.
But he's a really good man, and he and Dr. Parsons did a very difficult thing and stepped up and stood up for the citizens of San Joaquin County when they saw something that was wrong. And it cost them a tremendous amount of money. I mean, you tell me anybody else around here in San Joaquin County, like Dr. Parson did, who had to pay back tens of thousands of dollars of a signing bonus because she felt so strongly about what was going wrong in our department.
I didn't even know about that part
yeah,
of it.
most people don't know that. So that takes a tremendous amount of character to do that. Now, to answer the question, I know Dr. Amalu has applied for the position of medical examiner, but it appears that they, and by they I mean the county administrator and the board of supervisors, are looking at other candidates. Now, I'm not saying that other candidates aren't qualified or anything like that, but I think we can all agree that Dr. Amalu is the best in the country, if not the world.
I agree.
And he's already shown his character and the fact
Integrity.
that he wanted to stand up for the people of San Joaquin County. He has stated that he would love to be able to stay and work for the people of San Joaquin County and come back. But that's not in my hands. That's going to be up to the county on who they decide to hire. I'm sure whoever they get will be fine and qualified. I'm just saying that if I had the opportunity to get the best in the world, I'd choose the best in the world.
Absolutely. Me too. County supervisors, you know who the people want.
And, you know, along those lines, you know, the county supervisors and everybody work for you. And just like I listen to what the citizens of San Joaquin County are going to want me to do, that's what they do too. And you need to express your opinion. You need to reach out to them and tell them this is important to me or this isn't important to me. And this you got to remember that sometime in our lives, the coroner's division and now the medical examiner's office is going to impact your family's life. Ain't none of us getting out of here alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so at some point,
death and taxes,
it's very
right?
important that this is going to affect your family. So please reach out and contact your supervisor and let them know where you stand on this, because they're very good men and women that work up on this board, and they care deeply about this county, and they've done a great job when it comes to our fiscal responsibility and things like that. And they will listen to you, and they just want to know they're trying to do what they feel is best for the people of San Joaquin County, and they can't do that without hearing from you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. So, in closing, where is your for some reason I want to call it inauguration, but
transition or swearing in.
Swearing in. When is your where is your swearing in?
Our swearing in's out at the Sheriff's Department out on Matthews Road at 7000 Michael Countless Boulevard. It'll be on January 7th at 12 noon. Everybody is welcome. If it's raining, we'll put up some big white tents.
I love it.
But God willing, we'll have a beautiful day. And either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is your guys' swearing in. This is your voice being heard in our county, and it's going to make a huge difference in our county, I believe. And I look forward to serving the men and women here in San Joaquin County, and we'd love to have you out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank
taking
you.
the time. I'll have to have you on. I have to have you as a recurring guest, like every quarter.
All right.
We can squeeze you in.
Sounds
that
good.
way you can give people a little progress report.
Good. I would love that. Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you very much. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all your questions last night. And remember, yes, you can with Lance McCann.